Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, I had a voice radio, so today we're going to be looking at Pokemon GXs that are better in the expanded format than they are in the standard format. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, not all formats are created equally. The standard format is currently breakthrough on, but the expanded format is black and white on. That means that there are so many more options available to players in the expanded format, so I thought it would be only fair to take a look at some of these GXs that were better but only in the expanded format. And I should give a shout out to ADVGYM on Twitter who gave me the idea. Now, as a quick side note, we're only going to be looking at GXs which are much, much better in expanded. So if we take something like Zoroark, obviously Zoroark is better in expanded because Zoroark's Riotous Beating does 20 damage for each Pokemon you've got in play, and Skyfield means you can have 3 more Pokemon in play. But Zoroark is wrecking in the standard format. We don't need him. No, we're going to start with my boy Turtonator. You see, in the standard format, people who are playing a double colourless energy anyway might play Turtonator for the Shell Trap attack, and Shell Trap is good. 20 damage, and then if you get hit, damaged in the following turn, the Pokemon that damaged you takes 8 damage counters. It's a good attack. It's nice as a bit of a blocker, the 190 HP is nice, and in an emergency you're still doing 100 damage if the Pokemon is a GX, you're using Choice Band, and they're weak. But really, it's not that great. But now if we move into the expanded format, we have Blacksmith. Blacksmith is a phenomenal, as far as I'm concerned, supporter card that allows you to attach 2 fire energy from your discard to one of your fire Pokemon. Because the thing is, that attack that Turtonator has does 160 damage. Bright Flame does 160. With a Choice Band, 190. You're getting everything from Buzzwole on down. It's great. And of course, that can then be combined with Volcanion EX's Steam Up, and you're one-hit KOing anything. Here's the problem. You've got to discard 2 energy to do so. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a little bit of a problem. So what we do instead is we use Blacksmith, and then you can just get rolling. And here's the thing, I know that it's hard to use a non-draw supporter every turn, because you need to use supporters to draw cards, but you've also got Shaman in expanded, so you can draw cards without using your supporter. And then you've got Versus Seeker in expanded to reuse Blacksmith whenever you feel like it. At the Bilbao special event over in Spain, this took 2 of the top 4 spots. It is a very good deck indeed. It also took 2nd place in Fort Wayne. For the purposes of this video, we are looking at the results of the 4 most recent big expanded tournaments. The next Pokemon, which is better in expanded than it is in the standard format, is Wishiwashi. And Wishiwashi is never really a Pokemon that attacks, although if you go into the expanded format, you can use Archie's Ace in the Hole to grab yourself a Blastoise and then rain energy down onto it to attack, but that's not what we actually do. The thing about Wishiwashi is it's just a giant Pokemon. It is a Pokemon that has 210 HP, and the weakness is to Lightning. That, you know, okay, Night March with Joltik, I get it, but other than that, doesn't see a huge amount of play. Whereas if you take something like Guzzlord, well, Guzzlord, hang on a second, that's got even more HP. Or at least the same amount, because it got the same amount. But you got Buzzwole and Lycanroc, which are very widely played Pokemon at the moment, not to mention a Pokemon we're going to be talking about in the near future in this video. It's a bad weakness, so we'd rather have Wishiwashi. And Wishiwashi is just played as a blocking deck. Now, the most recent success it saw in the expanded format was at the San Jose Regionals, where Drew Kennett took a Wailord deck to top 8. And of course, Wailord is also a giant Pokemon, which is very good for blocking. And to be honest, it's a basic Pokemon with more HP. but they've got different weaknesses, and you can only play 4 Wailord in a deck. Although Wailord looks so much happier than Wishiwashi, I'd have to play Wailord over Wishiwashi if I had to make a choice, which I don't. You can argue that Wishiwashi had a decent finish recently with cards like Circuitry in the standard format, but really Wailord puts it above in the expanded format, and I think Wishiwashi is a much better card. The Archie's Blastoise combination exists in theory, although nobody seems to be playing it, or at least nobody seems to be having success with it, but I still think Wishiwashi is better in expanded. A Pokemon that sees no play in Standard, but is a pretty regular tech in Expanded, is that aforementioned Fighting GX. Can you guess what it is yet? It's Marshadow. Marshadow's got a great ability which allows it to copy the attacks, as long as you've got the correct energy, of any basic Pokemon in your discard pile. And quite simply, this is a Night March tech. You put it in Night March because you're already playing Joltik. Joltik for a double colourless energy has Night March, which means that as long as there is a Joltik in your discard pile, Marshadow for a double colourless energy has Night March. But with Joltik, you've got to have Joltik on the field. That's a Night March that isn't in the discard, allowing you to do extra damage. Whereas with Marshadow, you can have all of your Night Marches in the discard and then just copy one of your Joltik. You don't actually have to have any Night Marches on the field, and the more Night Marches in the discard, the more damage you do. But the other really important thing about Marshadow, you're hitting for weakness against Zoroark. It used to be that Darkrai was a big deck in Expanded, and people would play Marshadow as a counter to it. Now Darkrai's gone away, but it's okay because Zoroark's come in, and Zoroark also has a weakness to fighting, so we're good. The most recent big expanded format was down in San Jose. It was won by Azul Garcia Grigo, sorry about the pronunciation, with Night March, and he played a Marshadow GX. And then a couple tournaments before that, we were down in Fort Wayne where Michael Pramawat won with Night March, and he was playing a Marshadow GX. This is a Pokemon that has not been seen, at least in a winning deck, in Standard in ages. Maybe ever. But in Expanded, it's just a regular one-off tech in the best deck, so it's got to see some play. And the last card I'm going to talk about today, I'm willing to make a sequel to this video. Chuck your ideas down in the comment section. Necrozma. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Necrozma is amazing in Expanded, and just not that great in the Standard format. And the reason is incredibly simple. Dimension Valley. Dimension Valley makes a huge difference because it reduces the attack cost of each psychic Pokemon by 1 colourless energy. Now this is very important for Necrozma, because the best thing about Necrozma is the GX attack Black Ray GX that does 100 damage to each of your opponent's EXs and GXs. So you pop a Dimension Valley in play, and then for a double colourless energy, you do 100 to all of your opponent's EXs and GXs. That is absolutely nuts. Now, to be fair, this kind of blew up out of nowhere. It was part of the winning deck and the third place deck in Daytona Beach, and then it kind of ran away. It's not been seeing much play in Expanded since then, but Necrozma, admittedly, Necrozma did see a little bit of play in Standard in some Metagross decks, but Metagross hasn't seen much success lately. I really do think that Dimension Valley makes Necrozma much better in Expanded. And even though Necrozma has gone away a little bit, Necrozma is going to be making a comeback, because at some point in the future, we've got to get this Tapu Lele promo. And if you've got a Dimension Valley in play, for 1 psychic energy, you can move any number of damage counters around your opponent's Pokemon. So, and I think you've probably caught on to where I'm going with this, but you use Black Ray GX to do 400, 500, 600 damage on your opponent's side of the field, then you use Tapu Lele to rearrange it, and if your opponent has 6 GXs on the field, or EXs, you can win in 2 turns. As long as you can take out 3 GXs or EXs with 600 damage, which usually you could literally win in 2 turns. So Necrozma, as soon as this Tapu Lele comes out, Necrozma is coming right back. But I don't see it coming back in Standard because it needs a 3rd energy. Which means you either have to play it in something like a Metagross deck, or you have to play something like a Max Elixir and cross your fingers. Not a huge fan of it in Standard, but it's much better in Expanded. But as always with these kind of videos, ladies and gentlemen, and this one especially, I need to hear from you guys. Tell me the Pokemon that you believe are better in Expanded, GXs. I did consider Tapu Fini, but then again, Tapu Fini is an occasional tech in Standard, it's an occasional tech in Expanded. And like I said, as great as Zoroark is in Expanded, and it is, it's just as good in Standard, so it's not better in Expanded. But as always, ladies and gentlemen, like I've said, make sure you pop your comments down below, and if we get enough good ideas, I'll do a sequel video. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the WISHI, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. Make sure you're checking out WISHI Plays, my video game channel. I'm trying to grow it, and if you guys subscribe, watch the videos, etc., it would really, really help. And of course, if you want to support the channel, you can, as always, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can get bonus podcasts, etc. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.